afternoon. Welcome to Reading with Kermie. Chris here, aka Kermie. Welcome to, I almost lost track of my day. Friday afternoon. It's about 12:45 to be exact. And we are reading Don't Stress the Small Stuff. It's just small stuff. And this is book 3. And it's At Work. The last book was with the family, and book 1 was just don't stress the small stuff in general. So I like these different categories. They make us, they allow me, I should say, to just focus on me, and sometimes I hear great reading that resonates with me throughout the day, so I hope the same thing works out for you as well. It's a good thing I'm reading this today right now because I'm just about ready to get ready for work. So, it's probably a good thing. Anyway, we are on chapter 5 of book 3, and it's titled Have Some No Phone Time at Work. Oh boy. Let's see what it reveals, shall we? Are you ready? Ready? Let's get a listening ears on. Okay. If you're like me, the telephone is a mixed bag of goods. The telephone is a mixed bag of goods. On one hand, it's a lifesaver and obviously critical to most people. Without it, work would be impossible. On the other hand, depending on what you do for a living, the telephone can be one of the most distracting and stressful aspects of your work. Sometimes it seems as if you were always on the phone, and if you are on the phone, it's impossible to get any other type of work done. This can create anxiety and resentment toward the people who are calling us. I was once in the office of a manager when the phone rang immediately. He bellowed, "That darn phone never stops ringing." He then proceeded to pick it up and engage in a 15-minute phone conversation while I was waiting. I waited. When he finally hung up, he looked exhausted and frustrated. He apologized as his phone rang once again. He later confessed that he was having a great deal of trouble completing his task because of the volume of calls he has responded to. At some point, I asked him, "Have you ever considered having a certain period of time when you simply don't answer the phone?" He looked at me with a puzzled look on his face and said, "As a matter of fact, no." It turned out that this simple suggestion helped him not only to relax, but to get more work done as well. Like many people, he didn't need hours of uninterrupted time, but he did need some because he was the one returning many of the calls instead of responding to them. He was able, in many instances, to cut the length of the return call. He would say things like, "Hey Joan, hi Joan, I've only got 2 minutes, but I wanted to get back to you." Obviously, we depend on the phone and are required to use it in a variety of different degrees. If you are a receptionist, for example, or a telephone operator or a salesperson, this strategy is going to have limited, if any, practical reference for you. True. However, for many of others, it can be a real lifesaver. In my office, for example, if I didn't have no phone time, I would be on the phone close to 100% of the day. The phone never seems to stop ringing. If I didn't have protective policies in place, I'd have very little time to write or work on other projects. I suspect the same may be true for many of you. You can set this strategy in place in many different ways. I have certain times of the day when I turn off the ringer and I don't take any calls, other than ones that have been previously scheduled or for real emergencies, which are extremely rare. This gives me some time to focus without distraction. on what most relevant to my work. Many people, of course, are required to answer the phone as a company policy or a part of their job, and these people must be a little more creative to implement this strategy. Perhaps you can arrive a little early and turn off the phone before your day officially begins, or do the same thing after work. I know one woman who decided to bring her lunch to work so that she could work at her desk during a time she is allowed to turn off the phone and let the voicemail answer it. She was able to negotiate an earlier quitting time to she was able to negotiate an earlier quitting time so that her actual day wasn't longer, but she was then able to have a little more time to concentrate. In certain instances, you might be able to convince your employer to allow you to experiment with this strategy to see if you can get more done and still return all the calls. Some calls that come in can be returned later or after hours when you can answer specific questions by leaving messages or on a voicemail. This may take a minute or two instead of engaging in a 10 or 15-minute conversation. If you work at home or if you ever need to get things done at home, this strategy works wonders and often easier to put into place. You simply make the decision that for a specific period of time you will not answer the phone, thereby giving yourself the chance to get the things done you need to get done. This is not a foolproof strategy. There are often quirks to work out, for example, how to handle emergencies or important personal calls. I have a separate line reserved for very close friends, family, and a select few people that I work with. Another possibility is to leave your pager number or an alternative number on your voicemail or answering machine that is specifically reserved for calls that truly can't wait. Most people will honor your emergency only request. One other possibility is that you can check your messages after each call or on a frequent basis. That way you can postpone the bulk of the phone calls until a better time, but still get right back to those people who absolutely can't wait. I think you'll find that any hassles you must overcome to put this strategy into practice are in the most instances well worth it. Let's face it, the work world is not going to accommodate us with fewer phone calls to respond to. Fact, I found that I can get twice and even 3 times the amount of concentrated work done with I'm not distracted by the phone than with all the time I have saved. I can almost always return my calls with everything else have been done. That's the end of that chapter. Yeah, that's good. That's good advice for everybody, I think, especially nowadays. What was that title? Have some no phone time at work. And my work's pretty easy with that because I get to work, hang up my jacket, my phone's sitting in my jacket for the whole shift. So, or my back pocket, I don't even worry about it or think about it because I'm at a job where I don't have to talk on the phone. Blessed be. No, I work at a assistant living place and serve them meals, so I don't have to use the phone, which is a blessing in disguise, probably. But it does make a difference even at home. You know, put aside that phone time when you have other projects going on. That's a great idea, I think. And I know for me, when I'm sitting at home and I have other things I need to do with Facebook and everything on the phone, that can be a distraction. You know, there was a couple times in the past couple years where I've been taking a month off of Facebook, so I don't have that distraction on my phone. You know, it's hard because that's, you know, a lot of our social network right now in these days, but making it work, made it work, you know. People will respect that. Most people, anyway, that would respect you will respect that. And, no, at this time in my life, my phone isn't very busy except for like telemarketers and scam likelies and stuff like that these days anyway. So I don't have that problem. But a lot of times we do. A lot of times you do. And I know that because that phone is people's lives today. Especially at work. People can get, on it all day like that chapter says. And that could be your work too. So, like a telemarketer or, phone solicitor or whatever. But anyway, that's a good chapter for a reminder for a lot of people. Right now it didn't really affect me because I don't use my phone that often at work. But I'm glad I get to share it, and it gives me that reminder. Put away the phone when it needs to be put away. Right? Anyway, I hope you guys got something out of that reading. I gotta get ready for work. Speaking of work, so I will talk to you guys soon and sing with you guys soon. Love you guys and have a great afternoon. Peace.